I realize that these days I tend to only post one vlog on YouTube per month, but this is a very special occasion for me, and I'm just going to refer to it as my personal health update. If I seem like I'm a little bit runny-nosed today, it's because I just took my daily 10 milligrams of loratadine, otherwise known as generic Claritin, today. A little tongue-tied here because of my allergies. Because yesterday I could not take that or any of my usual vitamin supplements. Why? Well, for anybody that knows me, since March of 2011, I have been having some very unusual symptoms here and going down into my stomach. And recently, I went to a doctor at a local hospital, a respiratory specialist, who was able to diagnose these symptoms here, which I couldn't describe since I haven't had much issues with health in the past, as being a form of oral congestion, similar to nasal congestion that I'm interestingly feeling right now because of what I just said about loratadine, and was actually making it feel like this area was swelling. But they couldn't really define the cause specifically. I'm going to backtrack quite a long ways, back to 1988. I was having a lot of stomach discomfort. And, my father had been having it around that time too. And he went to a place run by the Meyerowitz family of chiropractors. The father, Moshe, and the son, Zev. Now, today, Zev Meyerowitz has his own practice in the nearby town of Holden. Now, at the time, Zev practiced at his father's facility, and using electronic acupuncture techniques, he was able to localize food allergies that I have, and I had many of them. Now, while I had to go off those foods, eat a very limited diet, and lose an almost inhumanly amount of weight at that time, eventually, I was able to be weaned back on all the foods and live successfully. I had never heard of chiropractic treatments before, and even as I grew up, it was always pertained to muscles and back. But as a matter of fact, chiropractic treatments go back to ancient Chinese treatments. And I'm not going to get too deeply into the debate between Western and Eastern medicine, but what I do know is that compared to the only few centuries that Western medicine has really been perfected, if that much, Chinese medicine has been perfected for thousands of years and continues to grow. And since many people in China and in Tibet particularly live well beyond 100 years old, often very healthily, I think their medicine has a great deal of validity. And frankly, I am convinced that especially with all of the affordable care, the Obamacare, that it would be appropriate for Medicaid and the local equivalent, MaineCare, to pay for chiropractic treatments as they are cheaper. Currently, I believe MaineCare has been said to be paying off $1,000 or more for MRIs, which is completely absurd. And I'm not going to get too much more into the financial specifics, but what Dr. Meyerowitz did for me is something called the Mead test. That's capital M-E-A-D-E, like the honey liqueur. And what the Mead test does is it uses herbs and little gauze-like pinpoints that are connected to a device, to a computer, to literally look at important allergy points on the body that also point to different areas such as the lungs, the heart, to see which areas are sensitive. I described to Dr. Meyerowitz my situation, that I've been to one doctor of one sort after another for over 3 years now, and within about 10 minutes of doing this Mead test, he literally put this all over my body, and that's again why I couldn't take anything that day, or even eat or shower an hour before I took the Mead test. 10 minutes. He was able to determine exactly what my problem has been for 3 years, which I have been struggling with and living with, and in a lot of cases unable to live with. Yeast. My lungs and my throat are absolutely infested with an overgrowth of yeast. Possible causes? Environment. There is a brownish black fungus that's currently growing on my window here, right by where I sleep. We've tried to clean it off, but the maintenance people who run the apartment where I live I've never wanted to replace the windows properly, so it's always there. The wind blows in very strange directions here, and there's always all sorts of new fungus that come into this area. So I am susceptible to a lot of environmental issues. But what I'm here to discuss today is the way in which Dr. Meyerowitz is going to treat me. It's a group of Chinese herbs, and this is one of them. This particular herb is citrus and pinelia. It's a Ternata rhizome, the dried rind of the mature fruit. Tag on the back here. Wilviporia, Cocos, Sclerotorium, so on and so forth. It's a huge concoction of Chinese herbs. I have to take 2 of these 3 times a day. That equals out to 6. I also have these immune stim, enzyme process. I have to take 10 drops 3 times a day of these under my tongue, along with those. And he also noted that another one of the doctors I had seen noticed that my vitamin D levels were at 39%, which is extremely low. Because I love the sun and am very attracted toward it, and eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, frankly, more than most people, I'm very surprised at this. But I was also given these. 5,000 milligrams, vegetarian capsules, 1 a day. So that's a health update. You know, after seeing so many doctors, even with a chiropractor who cured me of an allergy, you know, more than 20 years ago, okay, 25 years ago actually, I believe, the fact of the matter is it's hard not to be cynical and skeptical and jaundiced, frankly, about these treatments. But again, my trust in the long-term historical precedence of Chinese medicine, its success rate, and the fact that Zev has a humongously successful track record in treating members of my extended family and is booked to the rafters. It was really hard for me to get into him to begin with. Gives me the impression that I'm on the right road. I know what's going on with me, and after 3 years, I have a mixture of relief and mild defeat, because the fact is, I have gone to so many doctors, tired myself out from worrying, that in some ways this very obvious victory doesn't seem so obvious to me, and seems like grasping that victory from the jaws of defeat. But I'm very hopeful about this. It will be wonderful to be able to have this area open again the way it was before in 2011, not feeling that congestion, that heaviness there, being able to have the freedom to ride a bike. I couldn't, you know, eat milky products before, and he explained that was the result of the yeast, you know, building with the other yeast. I can eat ice cream again if I want to. Of course, the main thing is I want to exercise, so I don't want to eat a lot of ice cream. But I can have a sense of freedom, and I'm very happy about that. Good health is freedom. So for all of you out there who may be working too hard, or may be exposed to a lot of ill health in your life, take care of your body and take care of your mind. Both go hand in hand. This is Andre saying, see you next time, and a good health to all of you.